church and state. Tim?
Fiora, imagine getting punished just because your name happens to be Trump. Cherise Trump is of no family relation to Donald Trump, but she acts as the executive director of the nonprofit Speech First, which defends First Amendment rights for college students. She is a conservative who speaks at college campuses across the country and not had an issue with that until now. It happened after the young conservatives of Texas asked Cherise to speak at Trinity University in San Antonio. The school's director of risk management indicated she was concerned about a possible disruption on campus because of her last name. As a result, the school asked Speech First to purchase special liability insurance ahead of the March 3rd event, which they have done. Greg?
All right, well, let's talk with the executive director of Speech First, an organization fighting toxic censorship on college campuses, Cherise Trump. Cherise, give us the details of the story with your last name and visiting Trinity University. It sounds like satire from the Babylon Bee, but it's real.
Yeah, and the real irony is that this is actually a talk that I'm giving about free speech on college campuses. So that's where the real irony lays. And honestly, I thought it was something that was an overreaction in the beginning, and I realized later on that the university either genuinely doesn't believe that their students are capable of looking this up on the internet, because it's pretty apparent that I'm not directly related to the previous president, Donald Trump, but also they might just genuinely be afraid of their students. There's this coddling effect where universities fear these woke mobs, and they think that if anyone who's remotely conservative, or in my case, remotely associated with Donald Trump, then all of a sudden their students are going to rise up into these mass mobs and take over the campus. And the universities are encouraging this behavior by doing things like this, by taking steps like this to coddle them and not create an environment of open discourse.
Oh, that's crazy. I'm not supposed to do commentary like that, but it's crazy. All right. New York Mayor Eric Adams said you can't separate church and state. And when prayer was removed from the schools, guns came in and took its place. These are not typical Democratic talking points. I want to get your take on what his comments were.
I'll be honest, when I first heard the talking points, I was a little shocked. I thought I was listening to a Republican. But, look, when it comes to the separation of church and state, when the founders were thinking about this concept, they were not thinking about having a government that is 100% secular. They were thinking about protecting religious institutions from interference from the government. That was what they were primarily concerned about at the time, as they should be, and as we should be today. So that is something that I think Eric Adams is actually pointing to rightly, and that they're really, at the end of the day, when you're thinking about the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion, this is something that is the freedom of conscience. It's always going to be weighted. Your religious concerns are always going to be weighted in your decision making, regardless of whether you're a politician.
Yeah. In a speech yesterday, Joe Biden said that where he comes from, $800 matters. Yet the average family's lost over $9,300 in real wages by paying increased costs for groceries, gas, rent. You understand. So how is he so out of touch?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. He's out of touch because he lives behind this veil of elitism that when was the last time he actually went to a restaurant, like a diner, and actually ate food there, went to like a regular grocery store and bought his own food? I highly doubt it's been very recently. So most Americans understand right now, eggs and meat and various other supplies are at an all-time high, something that we've never seen before. In fact, during COVID, when groceries were this difficult to buy, we actually considered that an emergency. So I would like to know what the Biden administration considers this.
Wow, interesting. Now, the FBI Director Christopher Wray, he had a little dust up on Fox News. Listen to this.
The FBI is not in the business of functioning as the truth police.
Understood.
We don't tell social media companies to censor anything.
Elon Musk and Twitter files show something completely different, as you know, with the FBI asking for certain accounts to be muzzled. Can America now trust our federal law and intelligence agencies?
Absolutely not when it comes to social media. I've told people that we are operating in a surveillance state. Whether the government's using it against ourselves, we're all watching each other on the internet. So that is something that the more you post online, the more the government has access to the information and your beliefs and what you think. So it's tempting for them. It's very tempting for them to want to step in and interfere. And we've already opened the door for them to do that for other reasons. I don't see why they wouldn't attempt to do it for political reasons.
Okay. I want to get you to tell our audience about Speech First, Cherise, and how they can learn more.
Yeah, you can can learn more at speechfirst.org. We sue universities that violate the free speech rights of their students, which is why oftentimes I go around and speak on campuses and let students know what their legal rights are. And you can always give us a tip as well on speechfirst.org and find out more about us on our website.
I am so interested to see what happens in San Antonio and whether you'll have to see them or not. So keep us posted. We'll pray for you.
Thanks.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Mike?